Hello everybody, and welcome to another very exciting comic review episode. Today is a very special day in the nerd community. I don't have to tell you what the significance of May 4th is, but today is the day that all the Star Trek fans troll the Star Wars fans. Yes, that's right, for all the teasing I was doing about a May 4th video. I'm not doing a Star Wars video, it's Star Trek, bitches, and we're talking about Khan. But if you do want to watch me talk about Star Wars, I do have a video on the comic adaptation of Star Wars Episode 2 that was put out by Dark Horse Comics. I have both an issue of the comic that I got the year it was released, and I got a trade I can't talk today. And I have a trade paperback that I got fairly recently. So, full disclosure, this is actually the second recording of this episode, because what happened is I kind of just got distracted reading this comic, and I was forgetting to talk, and it was just come read a comic with OZ. And when I was talking, I was kind of just like reading the comic to you. But I want to just very quickly look through this series, Khan Ruling in Hell, which this came out in 2010. I was a big Trekkie back in those days. I still do really like Star Trek, but it has been a while since I've watched it. I've always been a big fan of Khan, so I was pretty excited when this comic came out. And if Khan is a character that you like, I also would recommend checking these books out. Not even just if you're a Khan fan, but if you're a Star Trek fan that just wants to read some good stuff, these books are really cool. I like the interpretation of Khan. I like how much this author, Greg Cox, how much he expands on Khan's history, because there's so much that we don't really know about Khan and that we can only interpret, because you only see just like a little bit of this guy's life. There's so much interesting stuff to talk about him. And this particular book, I really think this was a inspiration for this comic series, because there's a lot of similarities that aren't necessarily just like, hey, let's make a comic adaptation of the book. I think the writers of this comic, they took a lot of cues from this book, but went in their own direction. So let's just really quickly take a look at Khan Ruling in Hell. This was a retailer exclusive. You could get this this slightly derpy looking Khan plushie. So I'm just gonna give you a little bit of a look so I don't just end up reading the entire comic silently. This is a cool comic. I really like the art style. I've mentioned before in comic reviews that I love when artists can get a person's likeness down really well. I also noticed this comic, for some reason, Marla MacGyver's, as soon as she ends up on SETI Alpha 5, she's like, you know what? Clothing is oppressive. I am a liberated woman. I am throwing my Starfleet uniform into the goddamn fire. Which, I don't know if I like that. If you've read To Reign in Hell, the interpretation is more that Marla had no bad feelings towards Starfleet. Actually, her friends aboard the Enterprise gave her a necklace with a Starfleet emblem on it to remember those times, and that is the explanation as to why Khan has that necklace, because it was Marla's. So I don't know if I agree with this interpretation of her being just like, screw Starfleet, I'm gonna be sexy jungle queen now. Though, I don't know, if you can be a sexy jungle queen, be a sexy jungle queen. I just love that they made it an excuse to draw her as naked as possible, but before anybody gets offended, they made sure to have a lot of Khan eye candy, which, as a Khan fangirl, I like that. I like the copious amount of shirtless Khan we get, and I think they made Khan look very handsome, which Ricardo Montalban was a handsome guy. I think you should draw him very handsome. Okay, so issue 2, let's just take a look. And I do really love the colors in this comic. What I think is really noticeable is there's a contrast of warm and cool colors. There's a lot of color complements that are being used to make scenes pop really well. Like actually, this is a good example where we have like a very strong glowing green contrasted with the red. And sometimes it's hard to get those colors to complement without it just being like, ho, 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 Merry Christmas. But no, this works very well. Love the blues and the greens. And then I love that shot. Not just because we have hot shirtless Khan, but we just have that glow of the green with the bright red. It's just so cool. This is the same thing that happened when I did the last videos. I just kind of sat there like, I like this comic. Man, this is a cool comic. Good comic. Good comic. And without just commenting too much on the plot and every little thing that's happening, there are some similarities to the book in terms of some of the conflicts that are happening on Ceti Alpha 5. So you guys can see there's been a planetary explosion. If you know your Star Trek history, Ceti Alpha 6 exploded very soon after Khan's arrival to Ceti Alpha 5, and it destroyed their entire environment. And so what was initially a paradise has turned into a prison that they can't get off of. Also, this comic has excellent composition. We've got our nice focal point right here. I mean, this is exactly what I was saying about the colors. We've got our nice cool colors, our round composition, our round shapes contrasting with like the warm colors, more angular. Using somebody's ass as a compositional tool. This is some good comic writing. Right, we got issue 3 at this point. Issue 3, Ceti Alpha 5. The environment has become so harsh. The weather, it's now so brutally cold that Ricardo Montalban had to put clothes on, and that is a travesty. But he did make sure to design his outfit so there is copious man cleavage exposed, because we can't cover that. At this point, we've discovered our Ceti eels. Oh, and see, Marla kind of put clothes on. She's mostly got her weird fishnet thing on, but she did eventually put a coat on. That just tells you how bad the environment is. She could no longer be naked, barbarian jungle queen. I really like the background in this particular scene. It's, I think painterly is the best way I would. Well, I don't know. Painterly, is that the right term? I think painterly refers to more of, if you can see like brush strokes, and it looks a little more like a traditionally painted scene. But I think just like the pop of the color, that's kind of what I'm thinking when I use the term painterly. I don't really know what her outfit, just not even talking about anything visual or plot related. What is her outfit like supposed to be? I know that in the Star Trek episode Space Seed, when everybody comes out of the stasis, whatever the hell it is, on the Botany Bay, they're all kind of wearing this fishnet thing. I don't know if maybe this was what people thought we were going to wear in the future back in the 60s. But I don't know. I don't know if it really... Okay, I'm going to complain about one thing in this comic, and that I think this is definitely visually just like a texture that got applied onto her. I think they just drew her naked and then just like put the texture of this fishnet thing, because it doesn't like let's look at her butt again. Let's just do a nice close-up on her butt. It just kind of like phases through her butt crack there rather than like contouring with the swoop of each gluteus maximus. And like with her boobs, they're just kind of like phasing through the line of her cleavage. And there's no visible camel toe. Yeah, I don't know what we're doing with the outfit here. It's my only complaint is they didn't have enough camel toe. This comic would have been perfect. She's dying and I'm joking about her camel toe. This is the kind of quality you can expect on this channel. But now we are on our final issue of the comic. Oh, see, now Joachim is shirtless. See, we got more shirtlessness. Good comic. And I do just really love Khan's likeness. He had such a great face for drawing. He's got the sumptuous man cleavage. See, now I'm doing that thing again. I'm just like sitting here reading the comic. This is a cool shot. This is what I was talking about contrast-wise. We got that pop of really warm colors, like a fiery color scheme even, and all the figures are in like a more purpley blue color, so it catches your eye because the contrast is so strong. I want to study how artists are coloring their backgrounds more, or just drawing their backgrounds, because that's something I've always struggled with, is making my backgrounds not look like complete duty. So seeing how people just use subtle contrast or just like a splat of some color to give you more interest. And here we get the explanation, their explanation for Khan's necklace. In this comic, I just realized something. In the book, they give an explanation for why Khan is only wearing one glove. In the movie, you'll see he takes one of his gloves off, but not the other one. And he leaves it off. So for the rest of the movie, he's kind of like Michael Jacksoning it, where he's just got one glove. And the director, Nicholas Meyer, has gone on record saying he did that. He wanted Ricardo Montalban to leave one of the gloves on specifically because it made the audience wonder, why does he have just one glove on all the time? In the book, it was established that he had some kind of scarring from a phaser exploding in his hand. In this comic, they don't really go into that. They leave it as more of a mystery. Nicholas Meyer has also gone on record, because we should address the elephant in the room here. Ricardo Montalban's chest was real. I will die on that hill. And Nicholas Meyer has said he's actually tired of having to answer that question. He can assure you those pecs on that 61-year-old man were 100% authentic. He had felt the pecs at some point. Which, I mean, some people had to comment, like, bro, did you really, like, fondle Ricardo Montalban's man boobs? Really? I mean, he had some nice pecs. If I had the option to fondle them too, I absolutely would do so. And don't try to tell me that you wouldn't. So I wanted to make sure to establish that very important Star Trek universe fact. And if you've seen pictures of Ricardo Montalban when he was young, like in some of the older movies he was in, he got buff at like a certain point. I think in the 1950s is when he got really buff. He was a little more skinny when he first started out acting, but that guy was swole. He had some gains, and he did attribute it to a lot of push-ups, I think is what he said. And he said during Wrath of Khan, before all his scenes, he would just do a bunch of push-ups to make his pecs look really pumped. So that's the Ricardo Montalban workout secret. Just do a bunch of push-ups, get some gains. This is going to be my one other singular complaint about this comic, other than the fact that Marla MacGyver's outfit didn't contour to her boobs and she didn't have visible camel toe, is that this book is a little wonky. I might be being judgmental here because, I mean, you guys have seen my comics. I'm not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but I don't know, I think that book looks wonky. But this is the point where Khan's reign on Ceti Alpha 5, that part of the story has come to an end, and we're seeing basically where Wrath of Khan picks up. So that was Khan ruling in hell. I hope you guys enjoyed checking this out. I'm sure you can find this comic somewhere online. I don't know if they ever had a trade paperback where you can just get everything combined into one convenient volume. Sometimes it's fun. The one thing I will say that this comic, it only had a few ads in it, which, you know, that's actually kind of a plus. You get all comic, uninterrupted story, and then at the end it's like, yo, Spock versus zombies, and like a little bit of blurbs about other comics. Oh, well, we get some tabletop RPG cool shit ads. So that actually is a plus, to not have a bunch of interspersed ads, because one of the things, like we're going to talk about Star Wars again here, but the only thing that was kind of a shame about getting the episode 2 comic as a paperback is I didn't have all the ads in it that were just so fun to look at. And I think the ads, it's more of a nostalgia thing, which, again, a plus for less ads. I don't know if I want to be that nostalgic for the 2010s. I don't know, maybe I do. 2020s they're not looking too good. But enough about that. I hope you guys enjoyed checking this comic out. And like I said, if you are a Khan enthusiast or you just like Star Trek and you want to read some good stuff, also check out Star Trek: The Eugenics Wars by Greg Cox, as well as his book To Reign in Hell. And you can compare and contrast what these two authors were doing with Khan's backstory. I think it's interesting to compare the directions that they went in and see what's similar. Both of them are very fun reads. I think that anybody would really enjoy them. So on that note, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed looking through this comic, being on this journey with me. Hope you have a great time reading comics.